show is all about education. It happened to be that I've had to swap schools for my darling daughter, Whispering Grass. And I happened to be dropping her off at the new school, and the teacher wanted to talk to me.
Oh.
As they do, doesn't she know I've got a show to put on? Oh well, I thought I'd better listen to her because, you know, I've got to show some interest in my daughter.
Of course.
Anyway, so I gave listening a go. All right, so anyway, she started on, and all I could hear at first was blah, 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 nature is learning, blah, 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 reflections, blah, 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 big picture, blah, blah, teaching pedagogies.
See, that's all you need in the morning, isn't it?
I reckon. Luckily enough, one thing did stick out for me, and it was about the framework of the school. And they take on this framework from Reggio Emilia, which is quite old. It comes from Italy. And this framework comes from taking a topic and then using all creative mediums to flesh out that project, make it holistic, if you like. So you get learning from all the different avenues. And they're highly critical. So they get into the critical thinking and the reflective nature of it. They'll go so far as to tape a learning experience.
Wow.
That's right.
That's
Wonderful,
impressive,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's a bit like the show, really, isn't it? The other thing they do is they adopted this program. A bunch of teachers got together and they did a whole lot of examining and reflecting on teaching practices and implementing theorists' knowledge and strategies. And they studied the outcomes, and they decided what parts of those strategies and theories really promoted the best outcomes of all of our children. I think it was called PEEL. That's right, PEEL, the acronym PEEL.
Like banana peel.
Yes, exactly. Project for enhancing effective learning. That was it. Sounded
Nice.
terrific.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta love teachers now because it's all about the learner.
Yes.
And so recently, just going into class for my child, the teacher was all about the 8 LMQs, and I had no idea what they were about, but I had no time to ask her. So when I got home that night, I decided to look them up. And what they are 8 learning management questions. And so they're these questions that the teacher asks themselves about the child. So it's all about how the child has learnt in the past and where the child wants to go and what would be best for the child. And it's all about how the child learns. That way the teacher can better do a learning design for the child. It's all part of this new program called Learning Science.
That's such a great approach, isn't it?
Yeah, I find it all quite interesting, this idea of learning, and all of us being able to gain new knowledge every day, because we all have brains, we all have the ability to learn, and we are actually all lifelong learners. But mostly what I find interesting are the different theories that over time have been developed about the different ways that children learn best. One of the earliest theories that came about, very old-fashioned sort of way, was by a man named Frederick Skinner, and he believed that it was best that children were in a very regimented, strict sort of environment where they were controlled, and you had to do the right thing, and if you did anything bad, you were punished for that. Can you imagine children today being in that sort of learning environment?
No, absolutely not.
It didn't work for me, and it's certainly not been working for young Whispering Grass.
Yeah, no,
that's for sure.
absolutely. After Frederick Skinner came about a man named Jean Piaget.
Oh, he sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Good looking.
Well, with a name like that, you would think he might be.
Definitely.
He came up with the idea of constructism learning, where children have developmental stages in their lives to learning, and that basically they build on what they already know. So they are taught one thing, and from that they can create an understanding to learn something new.
Like scaffolding.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly.
The teacher did mention scaffolding as well, with Whispering Grass building that scaffolding, and when she feels ready to move on, by taking that away and rebuilding it elsewhere for further knowledge. That's a terrific idea.
Yeah,
An interesting way of
really
looking at it.
It's a great theory, I believe. But another one that I researched was a theory by a man named Lev Vygotsky.
Oh, Vygotsky. Oh, now I know what she was talking about. I thought she kept saying Viagra.
My goodness. Okay, ladies, let's just clear this up.
Horrifying.
Vygotsky.
How embarrassing.
I'm glad that's settled.
Yeah, anyway, he decided to link the previous two theories that I mentioned of behaviorism and constructism, and he added in the social aspect of a child being able to learn, and he came up with the idea of social constructism. And that basically children do learn best with sort of, being taught from one thing and learning another thing from what they've just been taught, but in a social environment so that they can feed off their peers, learn from each other, but mainly so that they've got the learning manager in the classroom with them to actually assist them to learn the next stage that they are learning.
So that makes my mum our learning manager. When we were having all those slumber parties and playing dress-ups and pretending to be chat show hosts, look where it got us today.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so great to see researchers are continually investigating into the functionality of the brain in order to determine how individuals best learn. So this then raises the question of what is really driving today's classrooms. Is it organisational practices or is it learning principles? I believe we've moved away from the organisational method of teaching into understanding, I guess, more about the biology and the nature of learning. For example, when I went to school, which was such a long time ago,
Longer for some than others.
teaching was very structured and I guess didn't really cater for students that had difficulty learning. And, whereas with my children, and I'm sure you ladies have discovered with your children, there is more of an emphasis on the teachers understanding how our children best learn.
You gotta love it because now they're looking into all these things about the brain. It all has to do with learning science, like I'd mentioned earlier. And learning science is where they put together the brain and learning design. And they've got all this new stuff now about the brain. It's all about how the frontal lobe carries your personality and your emotions and your problem solving, reasoning and motor skills. Then your temporal lobe is all about hearing and language and speech. And now they're trying to focus teachers on to knowing about things like synaptic connections and how children make memories and
it's
the best
great
place to do that.
Because once teachers have this knowledge and they implement it in the class, they can provide better teaching programs for their students.
And that's what it's all about now.
Absolutely. And thanks to all the amazing technology that has been developed in this amazing knowledge era that we live in, neuroscientists have been able to come across some new theories and discoveries, really, linking maybe to the brain, through technology such as the MRI scan. They've discovered that children are actually born with a number sense and that they can tell the difference between many and few, and the importance of the connections between the brains, as Tiana was mentioning, that it's really important for a learning manager to be concentrating and teaching both sides of the brains because they are connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the fact now that they say things like, they're just pointing out how important things like the 8 LMQs are and knowing how your learner learns, because they're saying now how it has recently been found out that past experiences that a child has had while learning will actually influence the way the environment and the information is represented and translated into the learner's brain. So if you have had one bad teacher in your child's life, that may actually affect the way they best learn. Are you okay? You look sort of in pain.
I am a little bit in pain. I've had all these poppings going off in my head.
no.
I think the synapses and the neurons, well, I hope it's the synapses
I
and
really
neurons.
don't think it is.
Is there anything you can do for
Yeah,
my
Netti
brain?
Woo.
Oh,
Look what I've got for you.
and a banana will really help.
Oh, absolutely. And especially for our students out there. Banana is such a great start to the day. And I think also we need to make sure that our students are having, several breaks as well to help stimulate their brain instead of just being stuck in the classroom all day.
Absolutely.
It's, a better
Goodness
strategy
gracious.
for,
And
Yes.
for better learning, I think.
the environment around the students is really important too.
Yeah.
If it's fun, they'll learn better.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Oh, I know. I love it when we get out and about. It's all starting to make sense to me now. I'm listening to all these theorists and studies. I mean, the way we learn and the physiological behind how our brain works, it all matters so much. It's kind of like education itself is a child that's been growing and learning along the way. It's like education, us, the learners, the teachers, society, all in this cocoon, bashing against the walls, festering and fermenting in there, learning how to better get along in this place we live in. And here we're finding ourselves in the 21st century, and it's like we're ready now, ready to come out of that cocoon to the beautiful butterfly of the 21st century education.
Absolutely, because education in the 21st century is about achieving success for all learners.
Oh yes, with all these things taking place in today's society, we're seeing a huge transition.
And the current youth generations are leading us through a fast-paced technological era.
Thus, driving our current society forward as lifelong learners.
Will you be left behind?
And please reach under your seats. We have a little gift for you, as it will help with
Getting you
better.
through the rest of the day.
Absolutely.